Okay, on this video, we're going to get into solving equations. You can see it's section 2.2. We're only going to do one-step equations. These should be equations that you have definitely seen before. Okay, very first thing you should take down, you see I have it written in here in red, the goal. The goal is to isolate the variable by using inverse operations. Isolate, that means basically get the variable by itself. Now, what do I mean by inverse operations? Probably should switch these orders right here. Inverse operations means is if in an equation, if you're adding, well, the inverse or the opposite of adding is subtracting. So put a comma. And if likewise, if you have, if you're multiplying, I'll put a times for multiplying. Well, the opposite of multiplying is dividing. Okay, so we're going to use inverse operations to basically move everything or every number over to the other side of the equation so that variable is completely by itself. All right. Okay, I have the one circled of which we're going to do on here. Okay, this should be real basic. So what I always do is draw a line down from here. I want to separate the left side and the right side. Now x is on the left side, so I'm only going to work with the left side. Now here it is. Since I'm subtracting 5, I want to do the opposite. To get rid of that, I add 5. Negative 5 plus 5 is 0. That cancels out. I add 5 to this right side. Okay, then negative 13 plus 5 is negative 8. That is our answer. All right, let's move over to number 2. Okay, number 2, now if we look at this one, let's make this even a little bit bigger. Number 2, x is on the right side, so I'm going to draw a line down, separate the left side and the right side. I only focus on the right side. Now since I'm adding 4 to the x, I do the opposite. I subtract 4. That cancels, so I have x by itself, which is what I want. Then to balance it out, I have to subtract 4 from the other side. And negative 2 minus 4 is negative 6. Okay, and a lot of these you can get just by using mental math. It only takes you one step, and the numbers are small. Okay, let's move to number 3. Okay, now number 3, don't get caught up. This is a double negative. Again, I put the line down. Now, if you subtract a negative, that's the same thing as adding. So I'm just going to rewrite this. Don't get caught up in this. Don't get tricked by it. This is just like saying x plus 4. Well, now it's real easy. If you're adding 4 to x, I do the opposite. I subtract 4. That cancels. I get x by itself. Subtract 4 here. Negative 8 minus 4 is negative 12. All right, so there you got to see how if you were adding in the equation, you subtracted, and vice versa. Okay, to go to the last type, I'm going to skip the next couple. All right, multiplying and dividing. Okay, so if I look at number 6, again, I'm going to look at the left side because that has the x. If it's just negative 4x and there's no operation in between the negative 4 and the x, it's assumed you're multiplying. So if you're multiplying, I want to do the opposite. I want to get rid of this negative 4. Opposite of multiplying is divide. I'm going to divide by negative 4. Negative 4 divided by negative 4, the negatives and 4's cancel. So you get positive x completely by itself for one step. And then divide this by negative 4. Yes, you can get fractions as answers. Your answer is not 4. Your answer is negative 1/4. And since there was a positive 1 divided by a negative, it stays as a negative as your answer. Okay, slide over to 7. Okay, now 7, you see the fraction bar here. So fraction bar means you're dividing. So if I want to get rid of this negative 5, I have to multiply. I have to do the opposite. I'm going to multiply by negative 5. Now when I multiply, these negative 5's cross cancel. They go away, so you just have x. Again, this only takes us one step. So if I multiply the left side by negative 5, I have to multiply the right side by negative 5 to balance everything out. Now, we know our rules for multiplying. If I multiply 2 negatives, my answer is going to be a positive. So 30 times 5 is what, 150? And it's positive because I multiplied 2 negatives. Okay, let's just do one more. Let's do number 8, and that'll be it. Okay, number 8, now I'm focusing on, I always want to look at the side that has the variable. The right side has the variable, so I don't care about the 60. I just look at the 5x, and I'm asking myself, how do I get rid of the 5? Well, since it's 5 times x, I do the opposite of multiplying. I divide both sides by 5. That cancels. Just like that, I have x by itself on the right side. Divide the left side by 5. And 60 divided by 5, we all know our times tables here. 5 times 12 is 60, so our answer is 12. Alright, so most of these are real mental math, one-step problems you should have seen before, but we're just using inverse operations to get the variable by itself.